Hey everyone, welcome to episode 19 of our AGS review series, guys. Today we're going to be reviewing season 1 of Star Wars Resistance. Now, honestly, I was actually kind of surprised that I'm doing a review on this. I was kind of running out of ideas for content, and I was like, you know what? I think it would be a good idea to do a couple review videos for content because I'm kind of losing some ideas. So I think it would be a good idea to review season 1 of Resistance. And when I had found out back in 2018 that Star Wars Resistance was going to be a brand new TV show, and Dave Filoni was going to be working on it, I was kind of happy. I was excited that we get to possibly explore Rey, Finn, Poe Dameron, their backgrounds, General Hux, Phasma, and all those other characters. But turns out it ended up being about Kaz, and the trailer actually did so bad. And it was released on literally, I think, a couple days before the new Clone Wars season 7 trailer, that came out during the summer, which was honestly very surprising. I think right about now there's like 15k dislikes on the first trailer of Star Wars Resistance, which honestly I don't blame them. The animation looked very, very weird, and it just looked very bad. And it turns out the budget for this film wasn't that big, so obviously the animation was going to suck with the budget that they were given for Resistance. And obviously it was turned out to be more of a kids show, which I thought was okay. But also the fact is that I'm an older Star Wars fan. I would like to see a little bit more action, a little bit more violence, darkness, and everything. A little bit more interesting things. But turns out that wasn't it. So Kaz happens to be a very interesting character. I don't really care for him very much. Honestly, he's an okay character. He just seems a little bit too, especially at the age that he is. I'm assuming that he's in his late teens or young adult stage, and he just happens to be this really cocky, very dumb type of character who's very clumsy, and he reminds me a lot of Jar Jar Binks, which I do not like, especially the fact that he's a human. And in the first episode, he turns out to be a New Republic pilot, and which I thought was pretty cool that some of the New Republic members, the Navy, in fact, was kind of getting involved with the Resistance and the First Order, which was okay. But there wasn't really any threat during the first season. We ended up getting introduced to more space pirates, which was something that we've seen before, with Hondo Ohnaka and Rebels, and then his pirate crew in the Clone Wars. But the pirates in this didn't really feel much of a threat at all. They were just there. They showed up for a few episodes during season 1, and they're just letting you know that they're there on on the planet where the Colossus is. And even when the fact that they bring in the First Order, especially when Poe and Kaz end up going out to literally go to on a mission, they encounter the First Order, but the First Order doesn't seem really much of a big threat. They're just there. There's not really much any action going on throughout season 1 until the very end, and it's when this female agent for the First Order shows up. I don't remember her name because I just really didn't care much of the Star Wars Resistance season 1. But she ends up showing up and turns out to be this big bad character, but she's just there. The First Order is just there. There's no actual threat. People on the Colossus end up going missing. Kaz is trying to figure out, because he's a spy for the Resistance. Literally on the first episode, he becomes a member of the Resistance and is a spy, and happens to be a very good pilot. Now, one of the things I did like about Resistance is that it was they tried to implement the racing theme back again, similar to the pod racing, which I do like. I grew up on a lot of movies that involved racing, such as the Fast and Furious franchise and the Cars franchise, which I did happen to like, but it wasn't that good. I was rather looking for some more action going on, and season 1 of Resistance just didn't deliver. I didn't really care for the first season whatsoever, and honestly, that's kind of it. A lot of the characters are just kind of like, they're just there for humor. Like, there's no sorry, there's no like real tension at all between Kaz and his friends. Like, Miko, who happens to meet Kaz on day 1, ends up becoming like this humor type character. He's literally just a Jar Jar Binks. He's there for humor, but all the other characters are just there. Like, they don't really pose anything to the actual story until the final season. Oh no, the final episode of season 1, to where the people of Colossus actually choose to fight back, and they get the First Order off the Colossus, and they try to go meet up with the Resistance, which is where season 2 ends up picking off of. So, what do I rate season 1 as for Star Wars, as a TV show? Honestly, if you are someone who actually enjoys Resistance, that's good for you. And if you are a young, if you're a kid who actually enjoys this show, good for you. But I rate this at literally season 1 a 4 out of 10. It was, certain parts of season 1 were okay, which happened to be literally 3 episodes out of the first season. But otherwise, it was just a very bad season. Especially, there was nothing, like, the First Order didn't pose a threat, the pirates didn't pose a threat, and all the episodes were just kind of pointless, besides where Poe and Kaz actually go out to do missions, which happens to be like 1 or 2 episodes, and that's it. So anyway, guys, that is it for my review of Star Wars Resistance Season 1. Guys, stay tuned for Saturday. We will be doing week 4 actually of Age on Colossus. We will possibly end up doing a stream tonight, and next Monday will be our first Disney Plus film review coming up. So guys, let me know what other stuff you want to review for this series, and I will catch you guys next time. Ace Gamer out.